No, he's our friend.
All any of you do is yell at each other. You are not friends.
You're right. We're family.
Today I'm going to be talking about one of the most wholesome, versatile, and important tropes of all time. Today I'm going to be talking about found family. Now, as someone obsessed with researching the hell out of things, this trope set out to just straight up kill me because there's really not much info on it besides a billion book recommendation lists. And I think that's because it can be painted in just such a huge array of different genres and can fit into an endless list of story types, so it's hard to go about categorizing. But of course, I'm going to take a swing at making a whole video about it because stubbornness. First up, let's talk about the basics. Found family is a trope in which a character or a set of characters has a hole in their life left by their genetic family, and this family of origin can be missing for any number of reasons. Tragic death, intolerance, differences, tragic death, imprisonment, distance, tragic death, abandonment, abuse, tragic death, kidnapping, getting lost, tragic death, and of course the classic genetic engineering means the character never had a family to begin with. And so in Found Family, the characters find people who are able to fill those holes in their lives. A really interesting twist on this is Lilo and Stitch, where Lilo loses the sister role and thus is looking for a substitute, but not because Nani dies, but instead because Nani takes a parental role because they lost their parents. Now, the book community is pretty set on the term found family for this trope, but you'll also see it called chosen family, and TV Tropes calls it family of choice. I am calling it Found Family because I think that is a superior title for various reasons. Family of choice is a term that's used in the LGBTQ+ community, and thus search results are already pretty populated, which makes finding trope information even harder than it is by default. Secondly, family of choice implies that the people who make up this family are chosen. In real life, this makes sense. Of course, you want that family of choice to be made up of people you choose. But in books and on-screen stories, writers generally don't have enough time to have a whole selection process. And so the family is generally thrust together by fate or destiny.
I believe it's because we're meant to find each other. It's like destiny.
And then the choice is not who becomes the found family, but rather whether or not the character accepts and embraces the found family. Spoiler alert, they basically always do. No! Stop. Cooperate, please. Thank you. For example, in Aurora Rising, Tyler is all ready to choose his squad. That would have been a family of choice, but circumstances. That's the word I wanted. Circumstances lead to him being stuck with the misfits of the group. This is another trope you'll see often in Found Family, is the ragtag bunch of misfits. And that's because those are characters who have had backs turned on them and thus are in need of an extra big dose of acceptance, which Found Family can provide. Now, Found Family can exist before the start of the story. A good example of this sort of Found Family light level of trope is the Monsters of Verity series, and my copies are at the very bottom of one of these stacks, so I'm not gonna pull it out because it's too much work. But for it to hit trope levels and show this trope in all of its brilliance, the finding has to happen during the story itself. Now let's talk about why this trope is so important. Found Family is one of those rare tropes where using it is not only not cliche, but it's kind of a public service of sorts. Because Found Family has the power to give hope and social validation to those out there who have blood family who are absent, abusive, intolerant, or otherwise unsupportive.
The beauty of being an adult is that you can make a new family with new traditions.
This is especially important in YA fiction and middle grade fiction, aimed at audiences that are more likely to be trapped in a bad family environment that may feel hopeless or unending. This trope is also extremely important for LGBTQ+ audiences because this is a group of people who experience family rejection at higher than normal levels.
What the hell are you wearing?
Hi, Dad.
And so if you're writing Found Family, especially with a sibling type ensemble cast, LGBTQ+ rep is more important than ever. Speaking of sibling type ensemble casts that I have yet to explain, let's take a crack at categorizing this trope that no information exists on. The types of Found Family, according to examples I looked over and my mediocre list making skills, are as follows. First up, we have parental substitution. Outside of cookie cutter comedy movies, this almost always takes the form of a single child with a single parent role. And interestingly, it is almost exclusively father-daughter. I think this is because women tend to be viewed as soft and maternal by default, so having a female character adopt a child feels too normal. And so when the writers instead throw in a gruff, jaded warrior type father figure, the audience gets a bit more mileage out of him slowly growing soft and opening up and stepping into a single parent role. And then having the child role taken up by a girl deepens the struggle to connect, thus making the task more difficult and the story more interesting. It's also worth noting that on occasion an adult receives a substitute parental figure.
Nice work.
Good. Thanks, Dad.
Why is everyone staring at me?
You said thanks, Dad.
Do you see me as a father figure, Peralta?
No.
You want to talk about it later over a game of catch?
I'd like that.
But in these cases, the relationship almost always exists before the story starts and is not very pivotal to the story, and so doesn't really hit trope levels of found family. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is a bit of a fun exception here, where the adult child-to-father relationship was the core of the story, and where we get to see family of origin pitted against found family, with found family receiving social legitimacy in the end. Next up, we have sibling pairings or sibling ensembles. This is probably the most common form of found family, but also the hardest to nail down because it bleeds so much into friendship type tropes, which means that maybe it just isn't overly common, and instead I'm just categorizing a bunch of friendship type tropes as found family, and that's why it seems overly common. Because of this, writers who want it to be very clear that they're aiming for found family will generally leave hints by having an early POV character focused on a lost family member, and thus suggesting that that's a hole in their life they're looking to fill. For example, Six of Crows brings up Kaz's lost brother. Skyward, which I'm not gonna pull off the shelf because if I do, the flowers will fall. Stop. Starts out with a prologue where Spensa is with her father and loses him. The cueing the audience in is more important with sibling substitutes, because although everyone had genetic parents, not everyone has genetic siblings, and so that missing piece cannot be assumed. Another way that writers can achieve sibling found family vibes is by having a pair of genetic siblings be part of the found family, and having them develop the same relationship dynamics with other cast members as with each other. Next up, we have pet with sibling level intelligence. Yes, I made a whole category for this because I make the rules. This one fascinates me. One-on-one type sibling replacements often take the form of a human character and a highly intelligent animal or magical creature character. For example, Lilo and Stitch, and maybe How to Train Your Dragon, and maybe I made this whole category so that I could mention those two examples together because they're my two favorite animated films of all time. Next up, we have full or partial replacement. This is where there's an ensemble cast that has characters filling roles of all different types. This is a very common one because it's very generalized, because I'm not very good at making lists or categories. Also worth noting, you don't have to have direct translations of roles. Found family isn't a science, as I learned through the fact that when I searched Google Scholar for articles, there were none. Yes, I searched Google Scholar. Next, let's cover sources of conflict that have extra high conflict levels or shine especially well in found family. First off, we have residual associations and surrogate grief. A character who has suffered greatly at the hands of their family of origin may struggle to trust the found family or project past scars onto the new characters. For example, in The Last of Us, Joel is resistant because he doesn't want to suffer the pain of loss again.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Next up, we have one of the very fun ones that you get to play with in found family, and that is, of course, sexual tension.
All right, maybe we're not a family. Maybe it's more complicated, because unlike a real family, there's nothing to stop any one of us from looking at any of the others as a sexual prospect.
Sometimes members of the found family will pair up because they're not really related, so you get to do that. For example, The Legend of Korra, where Korra makes her way through every single member of the found family, depending on where you cut off the definition of her found family. And of course, there's the endlessly fun example that is Six of Crows, where they literally all pair up. It's just like 2 for 2 for 2.
I feel like all my kids grew up and then they married each other.
It's every parent's dream.
But this comes with a whole extra level of conflict because they're found family, and so when the sequels come out and inevitably the characters break up, because they always do, the characters can't just walk away to never see each other again. And so they get to go through the whole awkward phase of return to being cool with each other, relapse into a relationship, go through another awkward phase, and then just cycle for the rest of existence until the writer decides if they're gonna be endgame or not.
Now comes the next part. The part where you and I can't go back to being friends.
Well, maybe this isn't a breakup. Maybe this is two friends getting back together.
So this is just an endless source of conflict potential.
I took that kiss for the team.
What? Yeah, that kiss wasn't for pleasure. It was strategic and joyless.
What?
The next one is social legitimacy. This one's a little more serious, because I gotta keep you on your toes. One of the large real-world issues faced by those who rely on found family is that there isn't really government systems or laws or anything set up to handle.
We're like our Greendale parents.
You just need a bone.
What? Gross! Rosa, those are our dads! I mean, that's not what I think. Captain Dad is just my boss.
He may have been your father, boy, but he wasn't your daddy.
And so members are unable to fill that role to the same extent, and this lack of social validation can cause deep-rooted feelings that the relationships themselves aren't as valid. Because of this, any pitting of family of origin bonds against found family bonds should generally result in found family coming out on top. This is extremely important because the audience members who most need found family benefit greatly from seeing these relationships validated in media. And the next source of conflict is some level of dysfunction. Dysfunction, on non-toxic levels, is not only acceptable in found family, but is really expected. Now, they are still chosen on some level, and you want to imply that, so your character generally shouldn't hate their guts, but they can have sibling-type rivalries, butt heads, not share all the same passions, not relate, and just generally have a family-type feel. Next up, sibling-type ensembles versus friendship-type tropes is so complex it gets its whole freaking own section. So I mentioned before the lines here can get really muddled and make identification really hard. But I think one of the large things that separate found family from more friendship-oriented tropes is that in friendship, characters are generally drawn together by common threads and ages. Whereas in found family, they're generally drawn together by fate and chance and tend to have less in common but are strongly bound together anyways because of the sense of family. This also has a strong effect on what the audience views as believable in these relationships. In friendship groups with friendship focus, the audience is more demanding of an explanation as to why these people like each other, so larger separation in character types flows more seamlessly when there are family vibes. This allows for more variation in cast and more colorful relationship dynamics overall, because when you ask, why do these people even like each other, the reasoning, we're family, is a catch-all hand wave that can't be disputed. This can manifest well as characters looking past flaws and being there for each other through everything.
He didn't chase him away, even though he yelled at him. I was always mean, and he stole batteries he didn't need.
Well, of course not.
And so when the protagonist inevitably does something dumb and turns their back on the found family, it's okay.
If you really want us to be your second family, then you've got to start treating us like one. Even if that means supporting us when we do things that you don't agree with.
Look at every sitcom in existence ever. Odds are they fall into one of three categories. Firstly, we have blood family. Secondly, we have workplace. And thirdly, we have shared living situation. The reasoning is really very simple. It allows for a diverse mix of different types of people to be forced together on a regular basis.
One might even say I'm Jewish.
I'm Muslim.
Jehovah's Witness.
Atheist.
The Lord is testing me.
Guys, this is a subject that breeds conflict. Can we please do
What religion are you, Jeff?
I'm agnostic.
In the realm of comedy, all of this added conflict potential and intriguing character dynamics translates to jokes, sketches, and humor potential that can carry a show with the same cast for up to 9 seasons, which is really quite impressive. And of course, there are places where found family and friendship tropes can blend in so much that you cannot pull them apart, such as with the case of the power of friendship. The power of friendship is another wholesome as trope and Red over at OSP covered it, so I will link her video in the end cards and in the description. But it's another trope that's largely self-explanatory and is one that blends beautifully with found families. Shazam ends with Billy only being able to win, literally with the power of his found family. And Guardians of the Galaxy 1 ends with them joining hands and being victorious only because they weathered the storm together. Both of these work extremely well because the characters were all about going it alone.
So always look out for number one. Gandhi said that.
I don't think he said that.
And so in the end, them accepting that they need the help of their found family to win solidifies their growth towards embracing these people they've come to care about. And now let's talk about how it can go wrong. Look, I tried so hard to find examples of this trope done badly. And if you can think of some, please, for the love of Skycat, drop a comment down below because there's nothing out there. I don't understand it. No one talks about this trope. At the end of the day, this trope has no rules, but that's okay. This trope isn't in the fine details. It's a feeling in the hearts of the audience. And its true beauty comes from the colorful array of stories it can find a home in.
I hope you know your family's gonna miss you.
I barely speak to them.
I was talking about the 9-9. So what happened?
I guess I wasn't ready to say goodbye to my family.
And now I'm feeling like you wish I would stop analyzing you because I'm ruining the moment.
And that's it for this video. Drop a comment with your favorite found family story. Shout out and thank you to the members of the Kitten Coalition who helped me choose this video. And as always, I will see you in the next video.